Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day here at the meeting place of heaven and earth. Thank you for joining me. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this warm sun weather, those beautiful birds chirping in the background, and that amazing mountain and all of its beauty and adventure and inspiration and everything that it provides for us. Help us to remember why we came here and to prepare for what is coming for the awakening en masse. Help us to plant seeds of truth with kindness and love so that we can help the awakening process, help uplift ourselves and others, creating a garden paradise once more. Thank you so much for your love and forgiveness and the opportunities that you give us to exist and to experience all of these amazing things, even in this fallen world. Thank you for the beauty that remains of the original design. Please help us have a great day. Bless everyone with the things that they need and with an extra dose of love and compassion, and help us to be the hands and feet of mercy that can be that for others. Give us ways that we can be kind and loving and of service to our fellows, human and non-human. In the name of Elohim I pray, amen. Today on the Nazarene calendar, here we go on the screen, it is Humanity Day. So the screen on our screen here, God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To humanity, send your angel of holy work. Please help us all remember why we came here so that we can fulfill our mission. Hello, Aspect 671. How's it going? Glad that you could make it. Kyle says, hey, looking forward to more recipe videos. You should do one for your cheese ball. That is a great idea. And I definitely was planning on putting that on the agenda for the recipes that I make, especially because it's one that you can have as a prepper. I am going to start incorporating more of the survivalist stuff into that as well, and showing people recipes that they can make from staple foods that are available in your pantry when crap hits the fan, if you prepare that way. David, he says, God and Goddess, please bless us with what we need to create a golden age. Absolutely. Let those blessings pour in. I definitely am grateful and trying to continuously remind myself to count my blessings and to be open to receiving more in whatever forms they may come. Today, we're going to continue reading the Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way, translated by Day of Greenleaf and available at Essene.org. We have been taking a little bit of a break for a few days because I've been having other projects and going up to Florence for the church service and all these other things. So I apologize about that, but I'm excited to read with you chapter 38 today. If you remember, we talked about the Immaculate Conception, the order of the Immaculate Conception, and how Miriam and Joshua were both from these orders, very 7 generations deep in these families of purification and really dedicated to the way, following the way. And we read that the more pure that we become, the more those higher being vessels, those higher being babies can come into this world. That's what Joshua and Miriam were. We read about their childhood and really awesome, cool stories about magical beings, unicorns, phoenix. We learned about how they both received their pentagram pendant on their 5th birthdays, and the chapter 16 story of Joshua receiving his, and the full details was why I was inspired by this. We read about Miriam and Christ's time in Miriam in Ethiopia and Christ in India. Then we read about them kind of returning home for a bit and then gathering these disciples around them. So the last few chapters were all of Christ's disciples and him giving a, that's definitely, I'm like, we're not that far in. Let me get to the right chapter here. So yeah, the last ones were the yoke of discipleship that Joshua gave to his apostles and said, you are always here by choice. No one is forcing you to come along. No matter what we go through, all these journeys, there's rough times ahead, and you're the only one that is putting this yoke on yourself. And that's a beautiful thing. It's not something that is forced even with us. We also read about Peter the Ebionite and the first meeting of him and Joshua, and how different that was than the mainstream Bible story that we hear of Peter actually being one of Christ's disciples. In this story, Peter was shooed out of the Aaronite group. Then he came upon Christ and was like, hey, guess what? I'm here to be your successor. You're definitely the Christ. You're the one that's going to go and suffer and die and do all that stuff. But I will be here to pick up the pieces and tell everybody about why you did this, and really or interpret the crucified Christ and all of that, how he was, getting messages from the dark cloud about how he would be this successor and all that. So that leads us to chapter 38. The Magdalene's lion comes to her side at the pass through the Mount of Transfiguration. I was doing some research on this, and it's interesting that in the mainstream narrative, well, of course, there could be an argument made that all of these stories are, the geographical locations that we are told are not exactly the correct ones. There's an argument to be made that, somewhere that is closer to the meeting place of heaven and earth and Eden may be the place rather than the current state of Israel in that area that is actually not even the fulfilling of the mainstream biblical prophecies. Different story for different day. Anyways, I was looking into what the mainstream geography is, and it was interesting to look at Mount Sinai as a possible mount. Obviously, there's a different Mount of Transfiguration. There's just multiple mountains that were seen as different transformational places. And if they were in Ethiopia and Christ coming from the Israel area, the mountain that would be more in the middle would be down here. So it's interesting to kind of look at that. I wish I put the map up here, but anyways, let's just continue on. The Magdalene's line comes to her side at the pass through the Mount of Transfiguration. On the path from Ethiopia to Halajah Ford was a mount with a spring of fresh water. Miriam needed to fill her water bags, and so she climbed the mount and walked to the spring. 7 men with demonic eyes emerged from the brush and attacked her. Miriam, using the Nazarene martial art of Zion, knocked 3 of the attackers to the ground, but a 4th hit her in the head with a rock, knocking her unconscious. One of the men began ripping Miriam's robe from her body, while the other 6 tied her down with a rope. Then, behold, Joshua came upon the scene. He threw the 7 demonically possessed men off of Miriam. Lo, in a fight of very short duration, Joshua defeated all 7 attackers. As the defeated men limped away, Joshua commanded the 7 demons to exit the bodies of the men they had possessed. As dark whirlwinds, the 7 demons departed from the men. The demons took over the bodies of 7 vultures, for that was their former form. For lo, these 7 demonic entities served the dark forces as spies while in the form of birds of prey. When they took the form of humans, they served their masters as assassins. For had Joshua not intervened, these 7 would have assassinated Miriam, for such had been their orders. For the dark forces had identified her and wished to end her incarnation before she accomplished whatever might be her mission. As Miriam became conscious and opened her eyes, behold, Joshua was doing combat with the 7. Before Miriam could join the battle, Joshua had defeated the 7. After the 7 fled, Miriam embraced her lion, Joshua. For 7 days and nights, Miriam and Joshua camped on the mount. For on the first night, while in embrace by the fire, Joshua said to Miriam, Soon enough, we will again give ourselves to saving this world from the hands of the spoilers. But let us enjoy a special time together here on this mount." Miriam agreed, saying, "I have longed for this moment. Jannah longs to hold Jade in her arms." Miriam later told me, "Jaleel, when Yahshua and I made love for the first time in this incarnation, I knew what it meant to be a human woman. I have known Jade in many worlds and forms, and in each we have merged to become one. Never do we tire of uniting with one another. I never cease to wonder at our ecstasy and embrace. And we never tire of playing and joking together. We were emanated to enjoy one another. Wherefore, the Aaronite Torah wrongly teaches that Eve was made for Adam, but not Adam for Eve. For lo, Eve was made for Adam, but Adam was also made for Eve. Neither subservient to the other, serving one another in Yah. For only in serving one another deeply are we deeply served." After 7 days together on the mount, Yahshua and Miriam were about to depart, when behold, Abraham and Sarah appeared upon the mount. Abraham said, "We come to give our blessings to your ministry." Sarah said, "We know you will minister first unto the remnants of Yisrael, so that the Nazarenes may greet their messiahs, and then to Yisrael. Join hands in sacred circle with us now, if it be your will." The Lord and Lady held hands in sacred circle with the high priest and high priestess of the seventh heaven of this chain of worlds, Abraham and Sarah. Behold, in that instant there appeared on the mount 12 dozen Nazarene ascended beings of the masculine spin, each a king of 7, and 12 dozen queens of 7, ascended beings of the feminine spin. These kings and queens of 7 are the chief disciples of the Lord and Lady in the seventh heaven of this world. Together in one angelic chorus, the gathered kings and queens of the Lord and Lady sang blessings to Miriam and Yeshua. The masculine and feminine polarities on this mount were potent and fertile. Together they wove the pattern that is the sign of life, the double helix. Yea, together they all danced the dance of the double helix. The males spiraled around the females spiraled around the males. And within the dance of the double helix is the dance of the pentagons, and the hexagons in relationship to the golden mean rectangle, one part of the grand dance of the 5 polyhedron of perfect symmetry. We talked about those in the beginning in the creation story, if you remember. And while the beings from the sun danced with the Lord and Lady, they sang sacred hymns to Jaja in Yah. Then the bodies of the Lord and Lady were transfigured, becoming at once the countless forms of the countless incarnations of the Lord Christ and the Lady Christ in countless worlds of the Mother Ovum. Then the Lord and Lady again took on the forms of Yahshua and Miriam, and the visitors ascended again to the seventh heaven. The Lord and Lady stood together upon the Mount of Transfiguration and gazed upon the world. Miriam said, "O nations of Yisrael, how long will you reject your mother? How I long for you to take shelter beneath my wings as chicks with a hen. For lo, I am the mother hen, and you are the chicks from my womb." Yahshua said, "O nations of Yisrael, how long will you mock, slander, and kill the prophets of Jaja who walk amongst you? Will you not now receive your mother? Or will you reject her more, even more fully than you reject me?" Then the Lord and Lady began their walk to meet John the Proclaimer at Halajah Ford. For lo, John would proclaim their coming to the world. Yea, though certain wise ones had already recognized their coming, the time had come for the public proclamation of their coming to go forward in fulfillment of Nazarene prophecy. That, lovely people, takes us up to chapter 39, the Kolaya, the scroll of John the Baptizer, being the proclamation of their coming and the selected sayings of John. We have read through this before, but we will read through it again, and I really, really love this. I mean, I love so much of the Megillah, and these sayings of his are so great, especially for us in the end times. I mean, they're great for any time ever, but yeah, so we will get into those. If not tomorrow, then on Thursday. I do want to make a number of slides for this chapter, so that might not take place tomorrow due to the fact that today at 3:30 I will be back here, maybe not here, but here with you in the virtual world. 3:30 for live chat. We'll talk about the truth of our reality, different things that are going on. We'll talk about flat earth, and I want to talk up a little bit about how the Big Bang, evolution, and flat earth all fit into the satanic deception, the ultimate goal being us as enslaved lights, because there's multiple of us, but one light. Anyways, us as enslaved light, and it all fits together. So I'd like to talk about that, and also a little bit about the TSA, ICE thing that's going on in the airports, different things like that. So I would love for you to join me at 3:30 to chat about that. Let me know. Hello, Portia. Yes, I am a Christian. Glad to hear that you are a follower of Christ. David Warner says, God bless you. Also, remember, God is always with us. Amen. Amen to that. God and God is always with us and around us. They promise never to leave us. I love that even in the Megillah, it talks about how, Jah and Jalad didn't want to leave us, but they needed to essentially be outside the egg to tend to it like a hen around her egg, but leaving Jade and Jana inside of the mother ovum, and also the Nahara that connects us all to them. Just different ways that this explains so beautifully how much the connection goes with all of creation and how much God and Goddess love us. So David, he says that Yahshua defeated 7 attackers with Zion, then commands the demon assassins leave. Yeah, how cool is that? And also interesting compared to the mainstream Bible version, which is obviously different. But when Yahshua is dealing with the demon possessed ones in the mainstream Bible, he literally sends those demons into the pigs and they run off the cliff, right? In this case, Yahshua isn't telling them to go inhabit another being. He said, get out of the being that you're in right now. And they went and took their own different form, which is interesting as well, rather than, this innocent herd of pigs that all of a sudden gets suicidal and jumps into the ocean. It's taking a different form as a vulture, a bird of prey that, it was just a shapeshifter, essentially. So very cool difference in that as well. In the future, once we finally read through this big book, and look at where we're at now, and keep in mind that there are more chapters, the final 2026 Megillah is going to be coming out in a few months, and we'll have the rest of the full Holy Godspell with the different acts of the apostles and different scrolls that are really cool. Once we get through this, then we will start to circle back and actually have like comparative lessons and different things on how it's different than the mainstream Bible and all that fun stuff, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about the Green Lion Army ministries that are going on, and not just in Shasta, but in Florence as well. One of the sisters has recently gone vegan, and it told me, I was like, oh, you should maybe talk to your vegan friends about starting a vegan community. And she went and talked to her vegan friends, and they already have a vegan community. And so she's really excited about just the different things that are going to be happening, different outreach that we can have, ways that we can raise awareness in whatever way that we are in life right now, different ways that we all have to share our voice, whether it's, actually going out and speaking to people, whether it's through art, maybe it's through, making flyers or different things like that. So we all have ways that we can plant seeds and bring light to this dark world. So much, especially around veganism, is fighting ignorance and apathy and all of that. And a friend and I were just talking, it's like, our families don't really understand the veganism thing, but it's like, if you actually understood why I'm vegan, you would be vegan too. And so it's kind of ironic, but yeah, our families often don't get it. And we just have to battle all of this stuff and planting seeds of truth, telling people how the animals are treated, especially the older generations, thinking that, they're getting their milk from a nice farmer down the road who cares about his cows and all of that stuff, when the majority of it is coming from CAFOs in these large operations. The powers that be have over time gotten the mom and pop type homestead, self-sufficiency, all of that kind of stuff they want to do away with and push everybody into the smart cities, into the cities that will become the smart cities, so that we are dependent on their system, and so that it's very inconvenient for us to say, actually, I don't want your digital ID. It's like, oh, really? Well, you're not going to be able to shop. You're not going to be able to drive. You're not going to be able to do this, that, and that. It's like, cool. I'll be in the woods, in the mountains. I don't want any part of your system anyways. So lots of great, exciting projects that are going to be starting, especially as summer warms up with the Green Line Army this Saturday at 1, I believe. Let me just double check that before I tell you, because that would be bad if I told people the wrong time. That's really weird that it's not here. Cool. Okay, 1 p.m. Saturday, March 28th at 1 p.m. When we were planning it, it was going to be at 2, and so that's why I was not sure if we ended up doing a 2 or 1. 1 p.m. we're going to have a potluck and planning party so that people can come out and share their ideas. Hopefully, we'll get some people that are really interested in actually getting some activism going, some outreach, all of the different things. It takes more people than just me. I've been doing it almost single-handedly for a very long time. There are some people, thankfully, that I've been helping within the past few years, but it's still a lot of work for there's a lot of work to be done, right? The harvest is great, and the workers are still yet to wake up. Wake up, everybody! Remember why we came here. Okay. Vincent said, "You bring such amazing energy to the world or realm." Aw, thanks. I appreciate that. Kyle says, "Talk about the new gardening knowledge." Cool. Well, maybe we could play a little bit of a clip from that. I'm not 100% confident with all of the information myself to present it, but I would love to talk about the gardening stuff, because I'm feeling very inspired to do more gardening. And yeah, I'm really excited. I recently just got some utensils to be able to start sprouting, particularly a like a stainless steel system. I didn't want to have to deal with any plastics, and I don't want to. I want ways to be able to feed myself and others when crap hits the fan, without having to, have plastic things and just things that you have to replace all the time. So, anyways, this. Oh no. Okay. This sprouting tray thing. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. If you can't see it, then I'll just show you later in the afternoon. But I got this to start doing some of the sprouting, and yeah, just finding different ways that we can help ourselves become more self-sufficient. So, oh no, all of my comments just disappeared. Ooh. I'm gonna have to remember that when I jump off of the screen on my phone and I come back to it, it doesn't always show the same thing. So, okay, well, I will be back at 3:30. I hope that you will join me. We can talk about the truth of our reality. Anything really that pops up, I would love to chat about. So I will see you then. May God and the Goddess bless you.